What is up? Dudes! How you doing? Well, here we go. So, I think I discovered this like last week. It was just on a random stream that I was following that was playing this, and I'm like, holy shit! It's what if Link became the Ace Attorney? Oh man! So technically, this will be my first Ace Attorney game. Technically. So yeah, I'm a little excited about this because I've never played an Ace Attorney game before, so, and this is supposed to be, well, it's Zelda Attorney, I guess. I don't know. All right, let's sound. It's fine. Check right now. Okay. Toggle widescreen. I think we'll be fine. If I wanted widescreen, I would have done it widescreen already. Would have kept the other layout. All right. Let's go. Honey, thank you for the 49 months and 19 in a row. This game all saves after each scene. Do not turn off console. Okay. It's so quiet. Do you think they forgot? Forget a royal visitation? No one could make such a blunder, princess. Well, I guess I should just go in then. March 17th, Hyrule Grand Court, defendant lobby number 3. March 17th, 1930, 9:37 a.m. Okay. Do you think after so many years of doing this, I'd be used to the stress? Oh my god, that's Link talking! Oh my god, Link talks! So why am I shaking? Yeah! I guess a lot worse than when your friends like that, it's on the line. Come on, gotta look professional. She can't see you like this. Speaking of her though, where is she anyway? Hey you, over there! Oh, what is it, attorney? The trial isn't starting yet. But it will soon, right? Would you happen to know why my client isn't here yet? I didn't get to speak much with her when she was arrested, so I was hoping I could at least exchange a word with her now. Wow, well, you weren't the only one with the idea. I believe she's currently in the prosecutor's lobby. He wanted to talk to her as well. What? What is up with this guy? He bars me from the crime scene, blocks my detention center visits, and now this? Not to worry. She will definitely be here before the trial. Great. That'll be a joyous 5 minutes indeed. But there's nothing I can do but wait. Sometime later. Okay, this is ridiculous. How much longer can you keep her? Ah, see, there she is. No need to get all worked up. Is something wrong? Did I hear shouting? So much for looking professional. No. Don't worry. Everything's fine. This is Malin. Ever since we met in Hyrule Castle Town all those years ago, we've been great friends. Her heart's in the right place. I know she cared deeply about her father. If everything's fine, why do you look so worried? Well, how did the investigation go? Did you find anything? Yes, the investigation. I found tons of groundbreaking stuff. Particularly that my opponent's a real scumbag. What did the prosecutor want from you anyway? Well, it was mostly just threats. He kept explaining in detail what would happen if I'm found guilty. Doesn't sound like vital discussion that needs to happen right before the trial. Probably just did that so we wouldn't have much time to talk. You believe in me, right? I didn't do it. I never. Of course I believe. Although, to be honest, things aren't looking very good right now. Fine. What's that you got there? Oh, this is just a photograph of a father I carry around. I just can't believe he's gone. I wish I knew how to cheer her up right now. Not very good at handling emotional clients. Hey, you know, that pictograph could be really useful for the trial. Oh? How so? Well, you look so happy together. I can present it to show you two have a great relationship. You really think so? Well, here you go then. That one's pictograph added to the court record. At least I'll be walking in there with something other than my badge. Oh wait, we shouldn't be idly chatting. Anyway, there's not much time left. I know it's hard to talk about, but could you tell me what actually happened? I don't stand much of a chance if I don't know your version of the story. I understand. Unfortunately, there isn't really much to it. The trial is starting. Defendant, attorney, please enter the courtroom at once. Uh-oh. Shouldn't have said that stuff about having no chance. Alright. Everything will be fine. Prosecutor has been playing me for a fool since this began, but sooner or later his arrogance will be his undoing. Let's head inside. My name is Link, and I've been defendant attorney for the last 7 years. I've won my fair share of cases and lost some too, but this one's personal. There's so much at stake here. Not only do I have to save Malin's life, I've got to find out who did this to Talon. Talon, he was always so kind. He didn't deserve this. I need to do him justice. I can't lose this. Court is now in session for the trial of Malin of Lon Lon Ranch. Hey, it's Owl Guy. The defense is ready, Your Honor. I sincerely doubt that. Naturally, the prosecutor's Ganondorf. Although they used Dragmire. Stream keeps loading for some reason. Let me turn down the bitrate. Alright, see if that helps. Alright. Shouldn't need a whole lot. Shouldn't need a huge bit rate for this game, but we'll see. What were they thinking, pitting me against some pathetic kid? Hmm? Pathetic kid? What gives you the... Still your tongue. You bring shame upon the fine color of your hair, vile woman. Before long, the world shall know the horrible deeds you've committed. Let's not prolong the inevitable, shall we begin? Now, this court is no place to be exchanging insults. Since the prosecution seems ready as well, let's hear their opening statement. The opening statement shall also be the closing one. The girl did it. It's obvious. She killed her own father in cold blood. Also, she could have the ranch to herself. Couldn't wait for your old fool to die naturally, could you, you greedy little rat? Your Honor, you can't allow this man to verbally abuse the defendant like this. Ha! She committed murder, kid. She deserves every bit of scorn she gets. I do believe a little less commentary wouldn't go amiss. Bah! I assure you, old man, you will change your opinion once you see all the damning evidence. Who is this guy? How can he speak to the judge like that? Ganondorf Dragmire. Looks like I've been lucky to avoid meeting this man until now. The stories I've heard about him must be true. A boorish barbarian of a man hailing from the Gerudo province. Apparently, he prides himself on nearly clean street he's cultivated for decades. All while disrespecting everyone in the court, including the judge. I've even heard some attorneys refer to him as the King of Evil. Definitely has that look, at the very least. Who wears a full armor to the court? Very well. Please present your case to the court. You don't seem like talking, so I'll just let the detective present the basics. Bring Impa of the Sheikah Force to the stand. Well, here we go, the first battle. I know Impa, she's quite a competent detective, which worries me. Please let her have made a mistake just this once. Alright, state your name and whatever it is you pretend to do. You never change, do you, prosecutor? Any possible change for the worse. Now, stop wasting time. Name and occupation. Oh man. Very well. I am Impa, and detective of the Sheikah Force Homicide Division. True for now, at least. Well, what are you waiting for? Start talking. You were the one assigned to this case, so you know all about it. What calamity has befallen our kingdom, fair kingdom? Still can't be bothered to give a proper opening statement? I suppose I could do the prosecutor's job for him this time, for the sake of an unbiased look. Please, go ahead, detective. The incident happened early yesterday morning at Lon Lon Ranch, a local supplier of goods located just south of Castletown. The current owner of the homestead town was found dead in his ranch house. A tragic loss for our kingdom, for sure. I have seen the man around Castletown a number of times, delivering goods. Okay, yeah. I guess the bit rate was just a little too high. Alright. Quite. Dylan was a rather important figure in the local community. In any case, we were alerted of the scene of the murder by the royal guard who were there on official business. Official business? What kind? As I understand, the ranch provides the kingdom with vital services. To ensure it is operating as it should, and as a gesture of appreciation, the crown orders a visitation to the ranch every year. I see. A scheduled annual visit. Continue, detective. When the Shaken Force arrived, they found the victim bleeding out onto the floor. Next to him lay his daughter, Mal, breathing, unresponsive. After a thorough investigation, we arrested her, as she was deemed the only possible culprit. That about covers the gist of what happened. Very nice and succinct. Keep that up, and perhaps you will keep your job. I don't think the good detective here has to worry much about that, given she is head of the department. Which reminds me, why is the head of detectives herself on the case like this? Were the other detectives unavailable? That would be because I had been assigned to this case by order of the King of Hyrule himself. The King himself assigned you? That doesn't happen very often, does it? You are correct, Your Honor. I am not usually involved in field work like this. This time, however, the King felt it necessary because of who is involved. Who is involved? Is the death of a ranch worker really such a concern for the King? Well, as I said, Walnut Ranch is a very important supplier of goods, to be sure. But that's not who I meant. I mentioned getting one of the top investigators on this job because it was the royal princess herself who discovered the crime scene. Order! I will have order! The royal princess Zelda witnessed the crime? There you have it. This case rides on the princess's own words. To doubt it would be to doubt your own royalty. This is bad. I can't really object to that. Very well. If the princess is testifying today, it's better we don't make her needlessly wait. Detective, please testify about exactly why the defendant was arrested. The reasons for arrest. It is with regret that I agree with Dragmar. All the evidence points towards this girl being the culprit. We determined that the murder definitely took place inside of the ranch house. There were only 3 people on the ranch: the victim, the defendant, and the worker who has an alibi for the time of the crime. The defendant was found unconscious right in front of the victim, who was bleeding out onto the floor. Furthermore, she was holding a weapon. Without a doubt, this was what was used to kill the victim. She seemed like such a bright girl. It's most unfortunate. Your Honor, I will submit this piece of evidence to the court. The first I have the autopsy First, I have the autopsy report performed by the Crown's top coroner. Here's what we determined to be the murder weapon, which we took from the defendant's hands. To make sure we had the correct weapon, we conducted a very thorough investigation. Naturally, we searched everyone and thoroughly examined the ranch and its vicinity. Nothing unusual was found, but to be safe, we also checked the ranch's inventory list to see whether anything was missing. The list matches the items we found on the ranch exactly, and nothing but the saw had fresh blood on it. That does sound quite compelling. This must have been a truly terrifying scene. Dying from a wound made by a weapon like this is extremely painful. This only helps prove the defendant's viciousness. Yeah. At this rate, they're going to paint Mal as some heartless monster. There's one more thing I should mention for the sake of completeness. Shortly after we arrived at the ranch, a courier showed up to take some milk shipments. Of course, business must go on. Is this really necessary to enter into evidence, though? The shipments did end up leaving the ranch, so I feel it bears mentioning. Were the contents checked before you let them go? Naturally. Who do you take us for? Even though the worker handling the shipments did get quite worked up about it, we cracked all the boxes open to check what was inside. In the end, it did turn out to only be milk bottles, so we let them through. Very, very well. Thank you for your thoroughness, Detective. So what happens now? Well, this is where I step in and perform a cross-examination. Ah, great. How does that work? Huh? Could you explain what you're going to be doing? Can't hurt to go over this again. Sure, why not? The witness will repeat her testimony, and I'll be able to scroll back and forth through the individual statements by pressing A, B, or with X, or with the D-pad control stick. They must read it as many times as you want. That's right. I have to consider every little detail. Can't miss a thing. If I want more info about something, I can use L or Z to press statement and ask the witness a question. Grill them for info. Yep. Since the witness has to come up with an answer on the spot, if they're lying, prompting from one can make them slip up. Most importantly, though, if I find something that doesn't line up with the evidence, I can press R to bring up the court record. The court record is basically a list of all the evidence, right? Yes, I can open it at any time if I need to recheck the facts. After choosing the contradicting item, I'll press C up to raise an objection and present my doubts to the court. Oh, I can only present evidence, but I can not only present evidence, but profiles as well. Profiles? The court record contains a list of all the people involved, too. I can switch between them and profiles with R. If I need to review what's been said recently, I can also press Start to see a history of messages. Ah, I see. That makes sense. Is the defense done whispering? Ah, sorry. If he's so upset about it, why doesn't he just press C right to skip ahead? The defense will cross-examine the witness. Bah! A waste of time. I sincerely hope you're not implying a standard court procedure is a waste of time, Mr. Dragmire. In any case, we're ready, defense. Please begin the cross-examination. Okay. It is what regret that I agree with Dragmire. All the evidence points towards the girl being the culprit. We determined that murder definitely took place inside of the ranch house. There were only 3 people on the ranch: the victim, the defendant, the worker who had an alibi at the time. Three people, you say? I guess that would have to be Mr. Ingo. Let me stop you before you start getting too excited. If you had listened to the rest of what the defense said, you'd notice she mentioned an alibi. Indeed. We were pretty certain that the ranch worker couldn't have been involved. Well, what is this alibi then? You might remember that I brought up some outgoing milk shipments. Well, the worker Ingo was in charge of them. He left the ranch house first thing in the morning and was busy repairing the shipments after that. Is that so? Surely he could have gotten away from that for one really quick little murder. Ah, this wouldn't be a quick little murder, as you so cruelly put it. He has taken steps to hide his involvement, too. There was definitely not enough time for that. Unfortunately, I agree. Repairing shipment is a lot of work. You have to milk the cows, clean all the bottles, pour the milk out into them, arrange them on the crates, finally load it up onto a wagon. Usually I had to do it together with Father to finish before the courier arrived. The shipments were already ready when we arrived at the ranch. When we checked the boxes, they were already fully loaded with filled milk bottles. So the single was able to do the work of 2 people all on his own. Isn't that a bit odd? Odd or not, he evidently did just that. Clearly, he's a man dedicated to his job. Or perhaps the girl and her father are just very inefficient. This whole thing seems awfully suspicious if you ask me, but I guess I have nothing to dispute it with. Okay. So we might have something. Bring it onto the floor. Okay, let's dispute this. And how can we be sure of this? Look at the autopsy report. Deep, irregular wounds made with a sharp metal object. The saw was the only sharp implement in the ranch house that could produce such a wound. And as I've already mentioned, we also looked closely at all other sharp things on the ranch. None had recent blood on them. Still, it doesn't necessarily mean the saw was the murder weapon. Maybe the real culprit hid the real one. Oh yeah? Prove it then. Oh shit. Oh yeah, prove it. Show us the real murder weapon. Well, I don't have any way to do that. Hello, Knight. Still, something arising about that saw. So you have nothing? What a waste of time. Huh? This seems like a fairly large oversight. I just want to make sure of something. The state the saw is currently in is how you found it at the crime scene? That's correct. That's strange, considering how much the victim bled out, how deep his wound was. Why is there no blood on the supposed murder weapon? Ah, is that all you have? Huh? Naturally, the prosecution has an explanation for why the saw is clean. Behold, this cloth was found in the defendant's other hand. As you can clearly see, it is stained with blood. The defendant simply wiped the murder weapon in a futile attempt to hide her involvement. If Val was trying to hide her involvement, why didn't she just leave the crime scene? Bah! Obviously, she was trying to hide the body before the royal visitation arrived at the ranch. Unfortunately for her, it just so happened that the delegation arrived quite a bit earlier than scheduled. In a panic, she quickly wiped the saw off and pretended to faint to make it look like she just stumbled upon the scene. Gah! Young lady, things are not looking very good for you right now. The court accepts the bloody cloth into evidence. So, what's the story with this cloth? Oh, that was Link talking, I'm sorry. So what's the story with this cloth? Well, as I was doing a final check around the ranch, I noticed that part of the fence around the horse paddock was damaged. Not entirely sure what happened, but sometimes one of the horses just get a bit too rowdy, you know? Right. Anyways, I didn't want to bother Mr. Ingo about it, so I tried to call up a new rail by myself to patch it up. But then the saw suddenly cut my hand open. Oh, goodness, are you okay? Well, it wasn't that bad. It did bleed quite a lot though, so I used that cloth to quickly bandage the wound. I was actually going into the ranch. I was to ask Father for help me with the fence. Ha! A likely story. And impossible to verify now, of course. The Sheikah force had to use a ferry on the defendant to get her out of her supposed unconsciousness. I do have to give her some credit. She is one cunning woman. She knew that... She knew that would explain a sudden lack of any wound on her hand. Oh, why, yes, fairies are wonderful. Just the other day, I slammed my head with my gavel and took the pain off, and one took the pain off immediately. Great. Glad to know they're used for such important things. But, dang it. Too bad there's no way to tell whose blood is on the cloth. I do believe this matter has been settled. I am ready to call my next witness. Oh. Oh shit. So. Thank you, honey. Uh-oh. Is that all you get out of her? You served your purpose, Sheikah. Be gone! Fine. But you have to treat Her Highness with respect, or I'll see to it that you spend the night in the dungeons. Do not presume to threaten me, Sheikah. A night of darkness and solitude would be nothing but comfort for me. Is that so? Then perhaps we should fill the dungeon with lit candles for the occasion. They're glaring daggers at each other. This doesn't end soon, we're all in trouble. Order! Order! I'm sure we'll treat the princess with utmost respect. You may step down, detective. This case has already made me weary of all the pointless jabber. The time is right to deal the final blow. I call Her Highness, Princess Zelda, to the stand. Is something the matter? Man, that's the same voice I used for Malin. Alright. Actually, I'm going to take this time to take this. Alright. Time for the princess's testimony. Is something the matter? Guess I'll just have to use the same voice for Zelda and Malin. Don't really do female voices all that much. Why is everyone quiet all of a sudden? Your Highness. I believe we were just a bit uncertain on how to proceed. It is quite the honor to have such an esteemed guest in these halls. Bah! In the face of law, the princess is no different from a peasant. Name an occupation, now! The prosecution will behave. I will not have any derogatory statements directed at the princess. Derogatory? I simply wish to not waste any more time. We must employ proper procedure. Oh man. It is alright, detective. I believe the prosecution does have a point. In the eyes of the law, we're all equals. On this end, I am just another witness. I should not be getting any special treatment. Very admirable, Your Highness. We can all rest easy knowing that Hyrule is destined to have such a wise monarch in its future. Yes, indeed. I eagerly await the day when our next ruler takes the throne and reshapes the kingdom in their image. You flatter me, prosecutor. Now then, I believe I was asked for my name and occupation. I am Zelda, current princess of Hyrule and heir apparent to the throne. Marvelous, Your Highness. Before we begin, I would just like to know, why were you along on ranch to witness this terrible incident? It's simple, really. Longmont Ranch is Hyrule Castle's town's biggest food supplier. Not only that, the ranch also equips Hyrule's royal guard with the finest of horses. Every year, the royal family makes a visit as a gesture of goodwill and to ensure the quality of the steeds. Wow, I didn't know your horses were used by the royal guard. Yep. We work hard every year to make sure they're in the best possible condition. Father loved the bus about it to the other ranch owners. Ha! Knowing talent, I'm sure he did. How unfortunate that the ranch may no longer meet the crown's high standards under new management. The royal family has a backup, I trust. We are looking for one. Naturally, those standards are quite high. Yes, of course. Now then, please describe what you saw on the day of the incident. Very well. Here I go. The scene behind the door. I arrived at Long Ranch a little after 8 a.m. accompanied by my local guards. I remember being quite surprised at how quiet everything was. There was nobody there to welcome us. I could sense that something was wrong. I opened the door at the ranch house and went inside. The room was mostly empty. There was a table with some kind of crystal bottle on top of it. But in front of them, a terrifying scene was unveiling. The defendant had the ranch owner's chest with the saw she was holding. I was overcome with fear and I screamed. I will never forget what I saw that day. I heard that Talon and his daughter were incredibly kind. I could not believe she would commit such horrible violence. What? Oh my. You saw the very moment the victim was killed? Yeah. There you go. Decisive testimony. And there is no need to doubt the princess's statement. I call for the judge to make a ruling right away. Hey now, hold on. I didn't get to cross-examine the witness yet. You haven't, fool, because there is no need. Did you not hear one word of what I said? Didn't you just say we should follow all procedures and treat the princess like any other witness? This is the defense's right. You complete? I believe the defense has a point. They do have every right to perform a cross-examination, no matter who was testifying. I was quite looking forward to this part myself. I've only ever read about court proceedings in the Royal Library. Humph. That being said, I will not tolerate any reckless accusations towards the princess. Is that clear? Naturally, Your Honor. How am I going to cross-examine the princess? This isn't going to end well. What's gotten to the prosecutor? That seemed like a rather intense outburst. Well, I do have a guess. Oh? Because of the princess's status, it's possible that Dragmire didn't have an opportunity to discuss her testimony with her. That might mean that this testimony is a surprise even to him. This could be my chance. Before we begin, there is just one thing that caught my attention. I believe the princess I accidentally pressed that. I believe the princess mentioned seeing some kind of glass bottle at the crime scene. That will be this, I presume? Why, yes. That is exactly it. What is that? Oh, that is the bottle of perfume that Father intended to gift Her Highness when she arrived. He quickly rode out to town to get it at the last moment. We know that the princess was coming instead of the king until only about 2 hours before the visitation. Oh, how thoughtful. He really did not need to bother himself so. As fascinating as this all is, prosecution doesn't believe it's relevant to the case. It's good to have the full picture of the crime scene. The defense requests the bottle to be accepted into evidence. Blah! Just desperate to latch onto every little thing, are you? Whatever. You add to the evidence if it'll make you happy. No skin off my teeth. In that case, the court accepts this bottle into evidence. Now then, defense, begin your cross-examination. Okay. Alright, where do I begin? I remember being surprised at how quiet everything was. There was nobody there to welcome us. Something was wrong inside. I have a feeling either this one, I should press on this one, or press on this one. I want to start. Let's press here. You were there at the exact time of the murder, Your Highness? That is correct. That's impossible. You're lying. The defendant will curb her outburst. You're addressing royalty. This is really bad. What now? Where were the victim and the defendant at this time? The range of them was in front of the little table that was across from the entrance door. The defendant was right in front of them and quickly fainted after her attack. A large pool of blood started forming where the victim was. I had a rather good view of the whole scene. Right. It is unfortunate that it is fortunate that you could see the whole thing in such detail. Now, please continue. Are you sure there wasn't anyone else at the ranch, Your Highness? No, the place looked empty. Although I did later see a worker pull up a loaded wagon when a courier came asking about milk shipments. He caused a little bit of a scene when the Shikapore started inspecting it. That worker must have been somewhere else on the ranch, I suppose. The ranch is pretty large. Said worker was inside a building on the other side. It's quite unexpected she wouldn't have seen him until later. Jack, this really doesn't give me a whole lot to work with. Alright, let's just press here, see. If these guards were with Her Highness, why are they not called as witnesses? We did question the guards, naturally. Apparently they didn't get to see anything relevant. I was the only one to enter the crime scene. After seeing what was inside, I stood guard and insisted that no one be inside until Sheikah Force arrived. I have read that preserving the scene is vital. Quite correct. I'm sure the guards were absolutely thrilled with this order. Please proceed, witness. Okay. Keep going in order, I guess. Keep going in order. Oh. Oh shit, I didn't mean to press on that. And? Something's wrong. I opened the door and went inside. And? What then? Stop entering and let her get to the point. Defense. I believe I was clear about not battering the witness. Jack, I need to calm down. Okay. This is what I wanted to press on. Have you conducted these royal visitations in the past, Your Highness? No, this was my first one. Up until last year, my father was always the one to visit on my ranch. However, he decided that I start preparing for all the royal duties that await me, and so I was to do it this time. You will doubtlessly perform admirably as ruler when the time comes. What happened when you got to the ranch house? You paid attention to something like that after seeing a murder princess? Well, I spent a very long time in there waiting for the Sheikah force to arrive. Plus, that bottle was quite beautiful. It just stood out. Are you sure you got a good look then, Your Highness? You didn't look away in panic? The princess was very brave to take control of the situation the way she did. There's no need to doubt what she saw. Yes, I suppose what she did was admirable. If only we had arrived earlier. Your Highness, don't blame yourself for this. If you arrived early, you could have been the one that got attacked. So you would have lashed out at anyone trying to stop you, huh? Despicable! That's not what you meant, and you know it. Princess, please go on. Very well. Yeah, Princess, what lie with this? Yeah, it really is shocking. You don't believe her. You don't believe her, right? Even if she's the princess, that means nothing. I didn't do it. To trust authority or your best friend. I'll need something concrete to disprove what the princess is saying. Trust your heart, Your Highness. You know Malin didn't do this. What nonsense. Her heart? What do her organs have to do with anything? Oh, of course, evidence and testimony be damned, just because we feel that the defendant must be innocent. Oh, well, if you're sure, then I declare today's verdict. Have you gone senile, old man? It was a joke. Much like the argument that defense has been presenting. Alright, so let's look at our... this part's a little tough. Maybe. Your Honor, Your Highness, I believe I found something that doesn't quite match up with the facts. How dare you question? You will let the defense speak, prosecutor. I think I see why he so desperately wanted to prevent this cross-examination now. Your Highness, you stated that you arrived at the ranch shortly after 8 a.m., correct? Yes, the visit was scheduled for 8:30 exactly, but we were quite a bit early. I see. That makes something you mentioned quite impossible. As stated by the autopsy report, the victim definitely died before 8 a.m. You couldn't have seen the defendant attack the ranch owner when you arrived, because the victim was already dead by then. Order! Order! Yes, you really caught her in a lie. Your Highness, what is the meaning of this? While I wholeheartedly respect and serve the crown, I will nonetheless tolerate lies in my court. I have not lied, I suppose I did not see the exact moment it happened. I guess I even thought I did. Princess, this is a matter of life and death. I definitely saw the defendant there, along with the body. There's no one else who could have done it. I remember all the other details correctly. The body's on the floor, the pool of blood. You have to believe me. Perhaps it will be best if Her Highness revises her testimony. That's not good. There's still not enough doubt to overturn this testimony. Find something else, or this case will be over. I'm sorry for embellishing the truth a little bit. I did not see the actual moment of the attack. But it had to have happened shortly before I went into the ranch house. Miss Malin and Father were the only ones at the scene of the crime, so she must be the culprit. I see. You only saw the aftermath of the scene, not the actual crime being committed. Very well. Hopefully there are no issues with your testimony this time. Defense, it's time for your cross-examination. Naturally, Your Honor. Dragmar still looks pretty angry. I bet you didn't expect such a blatant contradiction to pop up. If I could just find another one like that, the princess's testimony would be completely untrustworthy in the eyes of the judge. Maybe here? Are you sure Malin was the only one there, other than the victim? From what I recall, there's an upstairs room at the ranch house. What if someone was hiding there? Don't be stupid, defense. If someone was hiding up there, the Shiga Force would have found them. I stood guard at the door the entire time. No one could have left. What if they jumped out a window? Do not be ridiculous. Those windows are very high up. Actually, those windows can't even be open. They have to break one to leave. Right. Well, this is a little more plausible than the last testimony she gave. Yes, I suppose it matches the detective's account, doesn't it? Still, I feel like something here sticks out like a sore thumb. Alright, let's see. What if... Okay. Why did you do that, Your Highness? There's a life on the line here. I really am sorry. I suppose I got a bit too excited about being a witness in an actual murder trial. Really now? Most people hate testifying. Yes, well, the life of a princess is rather boring, you know? This is quite the break from the routine for me. Should just get a hobby then. In that case, it can't be conclusively proven that the defendant did it. Defense, did you exhaust your singular brain cell on that last contradiction you found? There's a death mound's worth of evidence pointing to the defendant. Just because no one saw the actual moment in the scene doesn't mean anyone else could have done it. I think you're making a death mound out of a death molehill. How can you be so sure of that, Princess? Well, when they entered the ranch house, the victim still had the murder weapon embedded into its body. What? Well, it is obvious what that means, is it not? The killer did not even have enough time to try to hide the weapon. Yes, I have not seen the murder firsthand, but must have been very close to doing so. Oh my. This seems like a very important detail. I think it would be advisable for Her Highness to amend her testimony. Certainly, Your Honor. Interesting. Dragmar certainly doesn't look very happy about this development, does he? Thinking about it, I might just know why. That doesn't necessarily mean my client was the one to do it, though. What if someone else snuck in before Malin and the princess arrived? Well, I suppose. Longlawn Ranch is surrounded by high walls, and the only way is through a self-locking gate. Not very many people have a key to that gate, just the personnel on the crown. Well, someone could have forced their way in. But if you wish to propose such a possibility, you'd have to substantiate it with evidence. Do you have any proof that another person showed up at the ranch house before the princess? Not right now. I don't anything of the sort. There must be another angle I can attack this from. Very well, when this defense has widely chosen to stay silent, please continue your testimony. What if I said I do? Okay. These are the traces of another person on the scene. Ha! That just shows you have no trace of evidence to go on. Yes, defense, I'm afraid I cannot trace your logic. Ah, well, you see, please try to keep at least a trace of non-character. Oh. Okay, so that was the wrong evidence. Okay. So it's not the milk shipments. You are, Your Highness, and I approve. How can it be any more rude? This is royalty you're speaking of. I'm getting lectured by rudeness by this guy? Well, let's see what you're waving around. It's, this. Ah, you're rude and wrong, it turns out. The defense will abstain from belligerent failures. Oh my god. I'll have to rethink this. Okay. How can you be so why is my C left not working? Okay, I'm calling the loop now. Calling the loop. Apparently my C down is also pressing the witness. I can't do C left for some reason. C right's not working either. Oh man. present. Worth a shot, I guess. Okay. I wish. Wish I had a way. That's my C left. If I just present the autopsy report. Fuck. The defense has failed to establish a likely alternative scenario to the one presented by the prosecution. As such, I pronounce Mellon of Longnon Ranch guilty. The defendant shall submit herself to the king and have her fate decided. This court is adjourned. Retry that last scene. Yeah. Oh, man. Alright. don't know. What have I tried? Let's see, I've already tried the pictograph. I've already tried the autopsy report. I've already tried the inventory list, the milk shipments, and the perfume. So that just leaves the saw and the bloody claw. Now, as far as profiles go, I've already tried to profile Impa, but that didn't work. So it's basically between the saw and the bloody claw. So bloody cloth, I guess. No, not the bloody cloth. Okay. Saw. Very good. Not doing very good this round. Okay, all pieces of evidence are gone. So it has to be a profile. Oh shit. Didn't mean to press it. Maybe if I present now on herself. Maybe I did it at the wrong time. Okay, hold on. Maybe I need to present while in here. Maybe my plan was one dude though. Well, someone else snuck in before Mal and Princess arrived. Well, I suppose. On a rest, surrounded by high walls. Is this herself? Oh, really? Oh my god, this is gonna be annoying. I can't skip. Why are my C left and C right buttons not working? gotta be in that fourth statement. It's gotta be in that. It's gotta be in here. It's gotta be in here. Okay, press here. Not many people. So, I've already tried the princess herself. I've already tried now. Maybe? Oh my god. Okay. I didn't mean to do that. I can't figure it. I presented just about every single possibility. Oh my god. I must say, I couldn't see anything clear there. Wow. The only thing that's clear is your incompetence. Oh, wait, that wasn't right? So... maybe this song. I believe I found another reason to doubt the witnesses. I believe I found another reason to doubt these witnesses' words. It seems the prosecution sees what I'm getting at there. There was a bloody cloth discovered at the scene of the crime. The prosecution has argued before that it was used to wipe the saw clean. The princess saw the saw lodge in Talon's body, and the crime scene was left intact, then it couldn't have been wiped. Well, Prosecutor Dragmar, care to explain? Grrrah! Wow, I didn't even click on the saw. This is most perplexing. Your Highness, are you sure that's what you saw? Well, maybe the princess decided to pull the saw out in a valiant yet futile attempt to save the victim. Then wipe the blade clean? That would be almost like framing the defendant. Of course I did no such thing. I made sure the crime scene stayed intact. I guess I must have made up the memory I saw sticking out of about the saw sticking out in town as well. You idiotic girl! Huh? Do you realize what you've done through your bumbling? I'm sorry. I was just so excited to stand as a witness in court just this once. Whenever I tried to tell my father about anything, he always seemed so disinterested. Just this once, I wanted to feel listened to. The defendant, it is clear that she did it. I just wanted to play a larger part in their capture. I'm sorry for the trouble I have caused you all. Your Highness, the court is no place for silly games. As it stands, I'm afraid we will have to strike your statements from the court record completely. Yes, I did it. The prosecution lost a key witness. No, please wait. I have more to say. I was wrong about the crime scene, but I still not testify about what I saw afterwards. Bah! Why would we care about that? It's best that you leave and stop damaging my case with your idiocy. If you're not interested in my words, you might be interested in the evidence I found. What? Huh? Evidence? Of course. While she can force investigated inside the ranch house, I looked around the rest of the ranch on my own. Chica, did you know about this? Of course I did. You did? I'll have your head for this. Order! Order! What is the meaning of this, detective? Why have you withheld this from the court? It's quite simple. The princess specifically requested to present her finding on her own. What? And you agreed to this? This court is not some playground where children decide when evidence should be presented just because they have a crown. He's being rude about it, but I can't help but agree with Dragmire in this one. Also, I don't really buy this story. There's no way Impa would have allowed this. Believe me, I wasn't thrilled with the request either. However, seeing the evidence in question, I think it would be at all important to the case. Thus, let the princess have her fun. This is highly irregular. I'm not sure how to feel about this, prosecutor. Bah, naturally, I object to this nonsense. If the detective thinks it's irrelevant, then this is probably just a waste of time. All the evidence points to the defendant. It's still clear she did it, even without a witness at the scene. I see. Defense? What do? We object to presenting the evidence, then Dragmire loses his key witness. Plus, whatever the princess presents could be bad for our case, too. So shall we agree with the prosecution? Well, on the other hand, we don't really have much to go on. This could be our only lead left. Well, don't keep us waiting. Surely you won't throw away all the progress you made thus far. I really hope this is the right choice. The defense requests that the evidence be presented. What? While I agree on the situation is irregular, we should still examine all evidence available. It would be silly to dismiss it as irrelevant without even seeing what it is. I do believe you have a point, defense. However, I must warn you, in order to admit this piece of evidence into the court record, Prince's statement that she found it must be admitted as testimony, along with everything else she might say. Yes, Your Honor, I am well aware. The defense wishes to give the princess just one more chance. Order! Very well. Your Highness, please testify once more about the new piece of evidence you found during your own investigation. Thank you. I will not let you down this time. The princess should understand the gravity of the situation at hand now. I just hope this new evidence isn't damaging to our case. Oh. I wish to express my most heartfelt apologies for my mistakes in the earlier testimony. Upon entering the ranch house, I saw the defendant passed out in front of the victim, who was bleeding out. I stood guard at the entrance of the ranch house until the sheik of horses arrived. Then she started investigating the crime scene. I said I'd take a look around the ranch. While I was walking near the cellar, I noticed a strong odor in the air. I had to stop to see where it was coming from. I followed the scent and found a fire nearby, and a small and nearly empty bottle of lamp oil. I, of course, took the bottle straight to the head detective. And here it is, the oil bottle I found. Huh? Is something wrong? Oh no, this might actually be completely irrelevant. Yes, well, of course, Of course there is, foolish girl. This has nothing to do with anything. Your great finding is some random fire on our ranch? Please. What next? Are you going to declare every rake on the premises suspicious? Well, the prosecution will calm down. This is bad. Your Honor, despite the fact that this evidence might not seem to have anything to amount, the defense will assert its right to a cross-examination. Some straws have been grasped. Why must you insist on this charade defense? The princess has merely recounted the same view of the crime scene as the head detective. You haven't been able to find any contradictions in her statements. I believe there might be a way to tie the princess's new evidence into the new case. Ridiculous! Regardless of what the prosecution thinks, the defense does have a right to a cross-examination. Court admits the oil bottle into evidence. It's really hope it isn't a complete waste of time, defense, for both your own sake and your clients. What was the smell like? Oh, it was awful. A really terrible stench. Bah, surely you don't mean to say that you found the smell of horse manure suspicious. Don't be ridiculous. The smell is not coming from the horses. A fire, huh? Now let me remind your defense that there's any number of reasons why a fire could have been there. You can still feel the cold grass of death early in the morning. Princess, how long would you estimate the fire had been out before you found it? Oh, right. There was still smoke rising out of the ashes, so it must have been put out recently. So around the time of the crime. So someone prepared their breakfast there. I repeat, this fire is irrelevant. I think you realize the same thing I did. Well, who was it? Who could have lit that fire anyway? It would have been the ranch worker who was putting the milk shipments together at the time. It was almost certainly him. If you really want to ask about his little barbecue, you might just get your wish soon. Does sound like it was very appetizing. But without any concrete to pin on him, he'll just be able to brush it off. Right, and she allowed you to present it? Well, I was the one who found it, and since I was going to the trial anyway. Utter ridiculousness! Yes. Please make this the last time you do something like this, Your Highness. Proper procedures exist for a reason. Yes, I understand. Do you have any idea why there would be a fire at the ranch today? Oh, that was Link talking. Let me amend that. Do you have any idea why there would be a fire at the ranch today? No, it's pretty odd. Then it sounds like it's definitely worth looking into, although it would be hard to link it to the crime anyway. In a situation like these, getting as much info as possible is my best bet. Royal visitation was supposed to last a lot longer. Father was not expecting us back at the castle until much later. I came to the ranch to examine the horses, so I suppose I could at least do that in the meantime. How long take the Sheikah to arrive at the scene? Does not take very long to make trip from Purple Castle Town to Walnut Ranch. I can only imagine it was more than 20 minutes. That is pretty fast, although I imagine the fact that the princess was evolved helped speed it up. Slowpokes, I'll be there in half that time, running backwards even! I suppose it's no surprise, though. Hind horses are naturally inferior to the fine Gerudo steeds. Alright. There's no need to practice presence on her apology. You already wasted chance to throw out her testimony. Yes, defense. Please get to the point. Yikes. Is there anything else in the room? Only beautiful Lake Crystal bottle I mentioned before. The house is rather barren. Most of the things are on the top floor, and the downstairs room is mostly used for ranch businesses these days. Any occasional game? Ah, of course! That famous Stucco game! The good old days. The defense is the defense done reminiscing? There will be plenty of time to do that when the defendant's behind bars. I was just trying to distract myself from the fact that there's nothing to latch onto here. Did anything happen during that time? No, not that I recall. The guards did occasionally protest and asked me to let them take over, but I held my stance. While commendable, I tell you, staying in the same room as a dangerous killer isn't very wise. What if she woke up and lashed out at you? Sweet Hylia up above! What? That thought did not occur to me. Bah! Of course not. Foolish girl. If the guards did stay close by, I would have been safe. One will see how much faith our princess has in our royal guard. Yes, of course I do. In any case. Defense, I believe that is enough. It doesn't seem like you're getting anywhere closer to finding a connection between this fire and the crime at all. No, I suppose not, Your Honor. Naturally, I said this was a waste of time from the beginning. In that case, this cross-examination is over. Thank you for your time, Your Highness. I assume no more revelations to share with us? No, I do not. I really thought the fire would be important. Leave my sight. Enough! Your Highness, if you allow me to escort you back to Hyrule Castle. Very well. Now that the princess's little game is over, we should move this along. The prosecution stance is still the same, of course. We maintain that the evidence on its own is enough to convict the defendant. I do believe I am nearly ready to hand down my verdict. But Your Honor, there's nothing that definitively shows that Malin committed the crime. This is all circumstantial. There's no way she could kill her own father. Ah, that is an excellent point, defense. The prosecution has yet to elaborate on the defendant's motive. Exercise is not something a person commits lightly. Bah, I did briefly touch on the subject during my opening statement. But naturally, the prosecution is fully prepared to elaborate on the matter. I would like to call in my third witness. That has to be the ranch worker. Before calling in though, the prosecution requests a brief recess to prepare. I thought you were already prepared. Then he wants to double check with his new witness won't pull anything weird like the princess did. Very well. I do believe a break would benefit us all. Court will reconvene after a 15-minute recess. Court is adjourned.